Hi, it's Jennifer Reese, IFBB Figure Pro and registered dental hygienist here. I am here to share with you my fitness journey within health, nutrition, and competing in hopes that I can educate, motivate, and inspire other people who are interested in pursuing their health goals. So to let you know a little bit about what's going on with me, I am currently just under 9 weeks out from my first competition of the 2020 season. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about diet, discipline, and determination. So I'm currently following what I would consider a moderate carbohydrate, moderate fat, and high protein type diet. Obviously, this will change going through prep, and I've been following this diet for a few weeks now, but it has changed a few times previously, and it will continue to change basically on a weekly basis going forward. Now, this is a diet that was designed for my body type, my activity output level, and the desired goal that I'm striving towards, which is obviously to be stage ready in 9 weeks. So I'm in no way advocating anything that I'm doing currently for anyone else. The best thing to do is get assessed and get a diet that's going to specifically work for your needs. You're more likely to follow it. But basically, I get all of my nutrition from whole foods. I'm not a big proponent or advocate for different supplements, things like that. There are some that I use, like glutamine and a good multivitamin, vitamin C, definitely a B complex, things like that. But for the most part, I get all of my nutrition from clean whole foods. So let's talk about protein sources. My protein sources currently are chicken and fish. So I'm eating 2 chicken meals and 2 fish meals per day. For carbohydrate sources, I like to get my carbohydrates primarily from rice, but yams are a great carbohydrate source, as well as or sweet potatoes and regular potatoes. For me personally, I love sweet potatoes, but they cause some digestive issues at times because they're very fibrous. So some people are sensitive to that and others are not. So again, you have to kind of play with your food and see what works for you. But those are good, clean sources. And depending, white rice versus brown white rice. Sorry, there's arguments for brown rice being better, but at this particular point in time, I do brown rice. But during the off season, white rice, jasmine rice, it doesn't really matter. Rice is rice. So it just depends on your goals and how specific you need to be with the foods that you're eating. Now, as far as vegetables, I like to get a wide variety of vegetables. There's a few that I primarily use during contest prep. But again, as far as digestion, I take a very good digestive enzyme. I find that really helps because when you're eating a high volume amount of vegetables, it can often lead to tummy troubles and bloating, things like that. So what I've found works for me is there's a bag of riced cauliflower is good, but I found riced broccoli, broccoli, kale, and zucchini, and it comes pre-frozen in a bag. It's already mixed up and mashed up into tiny little bits, so it's almost like it's pre-digested. I have no problems with that. I eat it all throughout prep. It's actually been a godsend because if anyone knows, has tried to eat the high volume broccoli before or, even asparagus, it gets very hard on the tummy. So I find that is absolutely amazing. It's been a big help. I really enjoy the riced cauliflower, as I said, as well, but I'm currently not eating that. I'm sticking to green vegetables. If you're not competing, though, I feel that get a wide variety of vegetables, a lot of different colors on your plate, that you're going to get a lot of different nutrients. That's very important for your body. It's also important, too, because if you are a competitor, when we're going through competition season, we're eating the same foods over and over and over, and you can become irritated by certain foods and develop food sensitivities. So it's a really good idea in the off season, if you're a competitor, to get all of those different foods in there because you're going to feed different microbes in your gut microbiome, which your body's going to love because there's a very delicate balance of the microbes in there. So everything you eat, food is information. So you're informing the body is breaking that down in the molecules and taking that information. So if you're constantly eating the same food sources, you're constantly feeding the same microbes in your gut microbiome, which are then going to dominate. So you can throw off the balance of your gut health, which is key to immunity and so many other things. I'm going to talk about that much more in depth in a future episode. For fats, I like to get my fats from good clean sources, raw nuts, not roasted and salted and covered in oil or flavor or anything like that. Just, whole nuts. I prefer, right now I'm eating walnuts, but I like pecans are great. Brazil nuts are great. Almonds. If you know me personally, you know that I absolutely have a weakness for peanut butter. So I don't have that in my diet at all or in my house because I just can't control myself. You can eat a pizza and a tub of ice cream in front of me and it wouldn't bother me. But if there's a jar of peanut butter in the cupboard, it would just run through my brain all day long. So I just choose not to have it in my house. I try not to have it around me at all, but it is a good source of fat if you're eating the good, clean, natural peanut butter. But your nuts are great. But what you want to do with your nuts and your fats is just be careful because they are very calorically dense. So a quarter cup of walnuts, for example, is about 300 grams or 300 calories, sorry, and there's a high amount of fat in that. So you can very easily, if you know what a quarter cup of walnuts looks like, it's not very much. So you don't want to be sitting there with a big bowl grazing and eating a high amount of these things because, you're going to be well over your caloric intake for the day very, very quickly. So a little bit of good fat in moderation, is great in your diet. You're going to get a lot of health benefits from the nutrients in the nuts. So Sundays are check-in day for me with my coach. I send my photos in every morning and we spoke this afternoon. So tomorrow I'm going to be having a high carb day, which I'm super excited for. So it's a rest day for me from the gym and I'm going to have some carbs with every meal. So it should fill me out a bit and I should start to look, pretty good going forward from that day. So pretty excited about that. Now, again, for me, what we do with my carbohydrate days, it's always clean sources. There's no going out for pizza or burgers or any pasta or anything like that. It's always still same foods, the same nutrients. We're just going to eat a little bit more carbs. So I want to talk a little bit about discipline and determination. Often I have people say to me things like, oh, I wish I could be as disciplined as you are or as dedicated. I'm not any different than anybody else. Discipline is work done consistently over time. So if you have a goal and you can identify your personal why you want to do something, then you're more likely to stick to it. For example, someone who has a major health scare may be more motivated to adopt a healthier lifestyle and they're going to be more likely to stick to it. So my suggestion is to identify your whys that you want something, and then you can go about identifying the obstacles that stand in the way of you achieving that goal. Once you identify the obstacles, you can figure out what is insurmountable and what you can overcome. Often we can find, an hour to spend on social media, on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, is your vice. But we have all this time in the day that we don't realize that we waste away here and there. So I recommend kind of doing an inventory and evaluating where you're losing time that you could possibly dedicate towards actually, being productive and achieving your goal. Even if it's just, okay, well, I'm going to shut my social media down 30 minutes early and I'm going to get that extra 30 minutes sleep. It's very uncommon, I find, that there's actually someone who cannot squeeze another 30 minutes to an hour out of their day simply by evaluating their priorities and where they're losing time. So just to kind of recap, you want to get good, whole, nutritious foods, ditch the processed stuff. Remember, food is information. So what you put into your body, you're giving it information, telling it to do certain things, and you're going to get those reactions. So you want to give it good information. Sleep. Sleep is key. Get as much sleep as you can, or as much sleep as your body needs, and good solid rest. You want to try to stay off the social media as much as possible. Simplify your life. Use the gadgets that we all have access to, the rice cookers, the air fryers. I love my air fryer. Slow cookers, things like that. Meal prep, meal prep, meal prep. That's the best way to stay on track. You limit your options. You're prepared. So for anything, your food is there. You're not going to have that chocolate bar because you can't, you don't have food and you're starving, or make poor choices and go for pizza, or whatever your vice is. So be prepared with your food. Lots of rest, good whole food. Keep promises with yourself with your goals. Make your promises because you've identified what your goals are and why. Start small and keep those promises. So when you start keeping promises with yourself, say, I'm going to go to yoga 3 times this week. And you actually do it, that builds self-confidence and tells yourself that you're important because you're making those dates with yourself and you're keeping them. Because believe it or not, when you don't keep those dates with yourself, you're telling yourself subconsciously that you're not that important. So implementing these small strategies, should help overall have a healthier, happier life. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you have any questions. Like I said, I'll get further in detail in different subjects as we go. Next week, I'm going to talk about inflammation and the gut microbiome a little bit more. So we can look forward to that. And I'll let you guys know what's going on with me and how my high carb day was. So until next week, we're 9 weeks out. So I set my life up in a way that is almost impossible to fail. I do my meal prep on Sundays for the entire week. So I literally have in my freezer right now every meal that I'm going to take with me for every day of this 7 days of the week. So there is no room for error. That's what I'm eating. It's prepared. There's no, oh, I'm tired, I don't have time, I ran out of this, I ran out of that. It's all about preparation. So there's that. I use tips I can offer for you. Slow cookers. I use a rice cooker. I'm not a kitchen person. I'm really not that domesticated. But, we have all these amazing gadgets now that will cook your food for you, set it and forget it style. So you can literally put it in and go clean the house, watch Netflix, do whatever you want. You can use your rice cooker. You can go to the gym. You can go spend time with your family, and it's literally going to be cooked for you. So once you have outlined what it is that you need to eat and you have your diet, there's ways to get that done and get your food cooked. And that's just around diet, but other ways that you can enhance the likelihood of your success is to make sure you're getting enough sleep, because when you're not rested, you're more likely to be thrown off your game, and you're more likely to cheat on your diet. Often we mistake, if you're like me, when you're tired, you're like, oh, I'm hungry, I'm cranky. So you're looking for something to fix that tiredness, but really it's just that you didn't get enough sleep. So I always try to get a minimum of 7.5 hours sleep. I know that's not always possible, but I do my absolute best. And it's just a commitment that I had made to myself, and that works for me. Everybody has a sleep number of hours that is ideal for them. I would recommend, according to research, you don't want to go over, but you don't want to go under. So maybe play around with that a little bit. But being adequately rested is absolutely paramount in my opinion.